Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, to everyone's favorite show, the Coach Phil Junkin Show, brought to you live right here on the campus of Bowling Green School, inside the locker room, or field house, we should call it. Coach Phil, glad to have you with us again. As always, glad to have the Hawk, Chris Bird, as my co-host. Coach, we're not going to say very much about Tri-County. That was a tough game against a tough team. They were what we thought they were. And, hey, water under the bridge. If you care to comment, I'll let you.
Well, look, Tri-County is a great football team, defending state champion, odds-on favorite to go back and play in the game again. I thought it just kind of went bad from the start. The kids did not give great effort. We did a lot of things wrong. We worked to correct those this week, and we'll move on from it. Sometimes you take lumps, and this is one of those lumps we take. And so the challenge now for our football team is, would you like another shot?
Right.
Would you knock another shot at them? And if you want another shot at them, then you take care of your business this week against Brookhaven, and then rest take care of itself.
Correct.
Longtime rival, Brookhaven Academy Cougars. Good football team. Longtime rivalry. Starts with Fortenberry and the rest of their team. What have you seen on film that we can expect from the Cougars this year? Anything different?
Well, not really, Chris. Anthony Hart is the coach there, and they're going to run the same offense they did. Now, they went to Lawrence County, and I think they rated Lawrence County and a couple other public schools around there and got them some players, and they picked up a quarterback. He's a tall, lanky kid. He'll remind you of Jenkins. Mm-hmm. He'll remind you of Snap. Yeah, he'll remind you of him. He's quick. Does a really good job at the quarterback position. But look, they're about Fortenberry. Yep. How go they is how go Fortenberry. We got to stop 7. We've got to be physical up front. They picked up about a 300. Good Lord, he looks like he's about 400 pounds, but I imagine he's probably around 330, 320, 330. Big left tackle, good-looking football player. We're going to have to. We need to go play like we played against Sunderland.
Right.
We need to go play with that intensity. We're dealing with injuries ourselves, but Brookhaven's got a really good football team, and we got to go to Brookhaven. Difficult place to play. Yes. Anytime you cross the line going into Mississippi, you're probably down 14-21. So you better be real good, and you better play great defensively. And with the injuries we have right now, it's been tough. But hey, it's big boy Iron Man football now.
That's right.
We've got to play both ways, and we got to go get the job done, and that's what we got on mind.
Brookhaven is a fun one to go to. We've been up there 1,000 times. Yeah. It's always a tough place to play, whether it's football or basketball or baseball. Mm-hmm. They always put on a good product. They had a few down years, but it looks like they're ticking back up again, and it's going to be an exciting matchup.
Well, Chris, sure. I'm trying to figure out the secret that they have up there at Brookhaven.
The interstate.
Well, now the secret on how do you have almost 700 kids in school, but you're still in 4A? That's the curiosity I have. And look, y'all know this. There's no love lost between me and Brookhaven Academy.
Right.
I love to compete against them, and we want to beat them in tiddlywinks.
Right.
And we're going to get after it, and we're going to give it the best we have. Our kids are prepared. Coaches have done a tremendous job preparing them this week, and as I told the guys last week, last week's on me. Mm-hmm. I didn't prepare you well enough. I didn't have you ready to play. This week, we went back to the basics and to conditioning and to doing, and we had a little better weather than we did the week before. So we're going up with the mindset that we're going to play good football, and we'll let the chips fall where they may.
The weather looks good for this week. We've been blessed this year so far. Cooler temperatures in the first few weeks of the football games. That's unusual in MAIS football. Usually it's hot. This week now we've got some warmer weather. Maybe tomorrow's going to be a warmer weather.
Yeah.
And
it's been hot in the afternoons, but by the time we play at 7, especially down in that bowl, maybe the sun will be out of there, and we'll get the shade or whatever. But look, it's funny. We always talk about, hey, man, it's hot down here. It's so hot, global warming and all this. I don't know, y'all. Maybe it was because we didn't have as much air conditioning time as kids have today.
Right.
But it was hot when we played.
Oh yeah.
Or at least it was for me, Jeff. I thought it was hot.
I was in Chicago.
Oh, okay. It was cooler where you were, but we were down here in the South in the heat. But look, Brookhaven's a great football team, a great opponent, and we're going to. And Coach Hart's a great coach. He's won championships. He's won everywhere he's been, and we're going to go up there and give him everything we got.
Yeah. Now, a lot of our viewers probably heard you talk about their bell cow, Fortenberry, and that might ring a bell to some of our listeners. That's correct. It's always an insult to get shot with your own gun. Yeah. And, Fortenberry, when it comes right down to it, he's one of the Mount Hermon Fortenberries, Washington Parish as they get. Mm-hmm. So they're really, Brookhaven's running off the strength of Washington Parish when it comes right. And also, Coach, Brookhaven will be our first district game.
Yeah, a bit important game for us. I told the kids today when we came off the field, we set our goal, win our first game, win the first game of the season. We did that. Now, the next one, win the district. And to do that, this is the first step. You got to go win this football game this Friday night. Also had to remind them this week after a whipping. Look, 1997, lost to Centerville, lost to Silliman, 0-2, rattled off 11 straight, won a state championship. 1998,
didn't know that.
Lost to Centerville, 19-13 in Centerville. Lost at Wayne, 44-7 to a very good Wayne football team. Came back and rattled off 9 wins and lost in the playoffs to Winston. So in the South State Championship, as a matter of fact. So, one game doesn't define us.
Right.
One situation doesn't define us. How are we going to respond this week? The kids have had a good week of practice. We feel very comfortable with the week of practice we've had. And now, as I told them today, once you get off the bus, once you walk on the sideline, and once you step on that field, now it's on you.
That's right.
You got to make plays, and hopefully they will. Hopefully will.
Yeah. Well, we look forward to it. Like you said, it's a big rivalry. Chris and I have had all kind of mishaps. Everything from we started calling the game on the cell phone on the way to the game.
Lock the keys in the car during the rainstorm.
Lock the keys in the car. Yeah, that's right. I was going to bring up right quick, Coach, Brookhaven, anytime you go up there, like you said, they put on quite a show. That's one of the closest games, seems like, that we go to, maybe Columbia, Oak Forest. Yeah. But Brookhaven's just hop, skip, and a jump up the road. But the other thing is, it seems like in baseball and basketball also, there's a lot of familiarity there where Tri-County, we've never played them. Wayne, we don't play them in base, but Brookhaven, they're on your schedule
for
a long time.
Yeah, it's been a year.
Every sport.
That's right.
And it's a good rivalry.
Yeah, and honestly, there are a lot of people that would probably say, for us through the years, that we have maybe Oak Forest is the biggest rival, or maybe this is the biggest rival. Basketball wise, when I first moved here, it was about Brookhaven.
Oh yes.
Football wise, it's either Brookhaven or Oak Forest. For me, it's probably Brookhaven. Mm-hmm. That's the one.
That's a fun game.
Where it's always been a good game, and it's always a tough opponent, and it's a lot of fun to play against them. Like you said, Chris, tough place to play. But the kids are prepared.
You think of some of the names, Chandler Rogers, Bubba Keene. They've had some good football players up there in Brookhaven, and it's been a lot of fun. So have we. Well, the games up there, it's been competitive, and it's been fun.
Yeah, and when you start talking about kids that have gone on to play professional ball, what was the kid's name? He was with
the Arizona team.
Arizona, and I think went on to play in Colorado a little bit, but they've been blessed with some great athletes. So we've got a great challenge for us this week. Got to try to go get that first district win, and we're going to give it heck, see if we can get her done.
I think so, Coach. I think the team's prepared. I told Coach Dean King in a text message last Saturday, I said, Brookhaven's going to catch us at a bad time and in a bad mood.
I hope so. I hope you're right, Chris. I hope you're right. Yeah, I hope you're right, Jeff. I hope you're right.
Absolutely. Yep. We want to be sure to give a special thanks to our sponsors, Heavenly Cakes, the Verrett family, Jason and Samantha Verrett. They have 2 children here, Sydney and Morgan. Morgan's number 18. We call him 290 because that's the way he plays.
He thinks he's 200. He does.
Yeah.
He does
and
that.
Sydney's a cheerleader. Also, the Arata Law Firm's been with us for a long time as a sponsor. Bill Arata Law Firm and Miss Ann Arata. She's running for school board in Bogalusa City School System. Silverleaf Boutique. We picked them up this week as a sponsor. Raymond produced a great ad, put it on the air yesterday afternoon. 1,000 unique views in 5 hours. That's 200 an hour. And also Jenkins Asphalt and Construction, one of our first sponsors, and we sure do thank them. We're going to have our offensive line coach. Quite a pickup on the coaching staff this year. An experienced college offensive lineman, a big addition to the staff. Right after these messages, you're watching the Coach Phil Junkin Show on Buck Vision. We'll be right back. And we're back on Buck Vision inside Bowling Green football, the Coach Phil Junkin Show. We're joined now on the set with our offensive line coach, a big addition that Coach Phil Junkins was able to pick up this year. Glad to have you this year, Coach Creel, Hampton Creel. He's a local guy. He played at Bowling Green School, but he's just not the type of person that, well, I'll help a little bit. A dad coach like Chris and I have been. You've played offensive line at the next level, and you understand the coaching techniques and footwork and so on and so forth. Can you just tell us a little bit about what you've learned from your stay at Mississippi College that you can bring and really add to the repertoire of a high school offensive line group?
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me too. So, coming out of a smaller program like Bowling Green, you're taught to just come off the ball, drive people off the ball.
Stay low.
When you get to a higher level, it becomes more about technique, footwork, because you're playing against the best every single day at practice and every single Saturday in games. So one of the things I've tried to bring in is fine-tuning our technique and making sure that we're in the correct position to make the right blocks, and when we do it violently. That's one of the big things that I like about offensive line, and I've loved it ever since I was playing Pee-wee out front here.
Right.
It's violent.
Yeah.
And I tell my guys every single day when we go to Endo, I use the term, it's a barroom brawl down here in the trenches. And they call it the trenches for a reason.
Right.
And you've got to be violent. You've got to have a different type of attitude. You've got to be tenacious.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I've really tried to bring is more of an attitude adjustment and attention to those smaller things that can win you the football game.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, it's not for everybody. That's what, when Chris and I were coaching, like you said, out front, the Pee-wees, I would say, hey, it's not for everybody. And if it's not for you, you might want to talk to your parents about it. You have to have a little bit of a screw loose, and you've got to enjoy contact.
I remember some of the brawls in Pee-wee, especially between Harrison and Hampton. Sometimes they would get at it, and it was violent. Two brothers have, that's probably the biggest violence when two brothers play. I remember when your son and a cousin got in a fight also.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That family blood.
Yep, that's
butts
a lot
heads
of fun.
sometimes.
Rivalry. That's right. I remember one time, and I know you'll agree with this, my dad saying, whoever said that offensive line is not what they would designate as a skill position has never played offensive line.
That's right.
Look, I've heard them say 100 times on TV, the hardest position to start at moving from high school to college or college to the NFL is quarterback. Number 2, offensive line.
Absolutely.
Because you have to be so in sync with everyone else to play quarterback and to play offensive line, you've got to be in sync with those other 4 to where receiver, okay, Chris, your new first day, run a post or running back, I'm going to hand it to you and you run really fast.
Yeah. It really takes a different type of person to play on the offensive line. It's a very selfless position because you're not the one getting your picture in the paper. You're not the one getting the write-ups. Yeah,
unless you're holding.
Oh yeah, and nobody
make a mistake.
Yeah. So it's I say this, you know, some of the best athletes I know and the best people that I know are offensive linemen.
Yeah.
It's it's the one position one unit on the field where you put yourself behind.
Yeah.
And with the backs that we have, our job, we don't want to be in the newspaper.
Right.
We want to be in the shadows, behind the scenes, putting in all the work, and letting those guys like Josiah, Kyron, LJ, letting them make all the plays.
Tell us about some of your linemen this year and maybe some of the matchups they're going to have this week in our first district game against Brookhaven. Any interesting facts you can tell us about this upcoming week and your linemen?
Oh, absolutely. And look, some of the best ones that are out there are ones that you wouldn't normally picture playing offensive line.
Right.
Like you have your J.P. Brumfield, Brody Estave, and of course Eli Schilling, the center, which I kind of
you being a center
have a little bias for. Those guys are 200 pounds and less. Mm-hmm. But one thing that I like about them is they play with that attitude.
Yeah.
They play with that tenacity. They play with a chip on their shoulder, and they come off the ball, and when they bring it violently. One thing that we've noticed on film is Brookhaven does have some size up front. They have a big nose tackle who is, I think he's a new transfer this year. But what we coach is, you know, we want to get double teams where we can, and we want to move the line of scrimmage. And if we can get our backs to the second level, I'll take that any day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Yeah, the safety does not want to tackle number 7.
No, and I don't know many linebackers who want to step in the hole with some of our backs.
Good point.
And I tell, you know, in games, I tell Josiah, just kind of get him pumped up. You know, if whoever steps in the hole with you thinks they're man enough to be there, make them regret it.
Right.
You know, if we can handle those front 4, front 3, depending on what look they're going to end up giving us, and pop Josiah, Kyron, maybe even Mr. 295, Morgan Verrett, who there can be a hole in green grass, but if he sees an opposite color jersey, he'll turn it up like he's 230.
Yeah.
You know.
Like a bull to a red cape.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But we want to get double teams where we can. I'm big on moving the line of scrimmage and keeping that front 4 off of our backs.
Yeah.
And letting them make a play in the hole and get to green grass.
Yeah. Well, it's a ballet as far as the footwork goes, and that's how some of our linemen can go against Madison St. Joe, Adams Christian, whoever. Obviously, well, last week I brought up something about Eli Schilling. He's a 3-year starter at center, 180. I've never seen him be the reason that we performed bad in a game.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, he knows just how to position himself. And for Josiah, Kyron, whoever it is from last year before, you just have to crack the door open.
Yes.
Just
they
a
just
little
need to see
bit.
Daylight.
Yeah.
And Eli is a very savvy football player. He knows, hey, I've got a 270-pounder in front of me. I'm not going to be able to just dust roll him off the football. So I've got to get my body in position. My footwork has to be perfect. My hands, when I come off the ball, I have to be violent, and I have to perfectly position that punch, get my body in position to where that nose tackle, defensive tackle cannot make the play, cannot be in the hole when my fullback gets there. And we also run such a quick-hitting offense that we just have to –
It's for
yeah.
Blink.
Yeah, and they're gone.
Yep.
But, yeah, Eli's a great football player, and look, as a center, you have to be the quarterback of the offensive line.
Yeah.
You have to you have to know every single job of all 5. Because
and the running back.
When you're in the huddle, and I've had positions when I've been playing, you're in the huddle and your tailback doesn't know the play, or your left tackle doesn't know the play, and you got to be able to spit it out.
Yeah.
Hey, here's where we're going. This is what we're doing. But yeah, Eli's a great football player. His football IQ is off the charts. Very intelligent, and he's a real joy to be able to coach.
Yeah, well, some of those points that you bring out, Hampton, is exactly why I say that it's such a plus to have you here, because you mentioned in years past, hey, just fire off the ball and block, and we're going to do what we're going to do back here with the skilled players.
Before we wind down, any last words about Brookhaven? You've played there a myriad of times, a big rivalry. Any predictions? I know you can't give predictions.
Yeah,
can't
give predictions.
Nuances
can't give
you want to talk about the game?
Well, anytime you play one of those old school hooking bulls in the MAIS or what used to be the MPSA,
right?
You've got to be ready for a dogfight and to keep your head.
Right.
You can't lose your cool when a call doesn't go your way. And you really have to bring
one
the
play
intensity.
at a time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I've told everybody, our guys, like Coach Phil said, our first goal was to beat Centerville because that's a big game as well, big rivalry. Yep. Our second goal, win district. You got to go out and win this one. We're trying to be 1-0 this week. That's been the goal all week. We want to be 1-0 after this week.
I sure look forward to it, and I think that y'all have the boys in position to make a good go at it. And I'll predict, even though it may sway the odds in Vegas, I think we're coming home with the W this week. Hampton, thanks for being our special guest.
Sir.
You're
as per usual, he gets a Rolex presidential watch from Oakland Hart. It'll be in the mail.
I'll be looking for it.
As our special guest of the week.
Yeah,
thank y'all for having me.
And we want to thank our sponsors. You'll be seeing them. Our production manager, Raymond Williams and RC Photographics. Thank you for joining us. And we will see you again next week on a victorious set, the Coach Phil Junkin Show. For the Hawk, Chris Bird, I'm Mr. Positive Jeff McKelvin, saying, Go Bucks.